on behalf of the MasterCard Foundation, thank the Women Opportunity Network for presenting us with this honor. It's especially heartening because so much of our work, and I mean the collective, our work here, is to serve women who are, as Cheryl Woodun has said, who hold up half the sky, women who are the backbone of so many economies in many of the countries where we work. They, as I've said before, they raise our children, they grow our food, they provide our health care, they keep families together, and they keep communities together. And so this award will be a wonderful reminder of not only why we work, why we do the work that we do, but also who we serve. So thank you. It is really a thrill for us, and we're very, very grateful to Opportunity International for including us in the conference this weekend. We are so passionate about the work that Opportunity International does around the world. And we're passionate about this work because we see that it is fundamentally values-based, and values which are in service of empowering people living in poverty. When I think of the name Opportunity International, I think that word opportunity says everything. It is the word which sort of captures the moment and the time that we are living in, the times we're living in, and the moment that this could represent not only for us, but also for the people that we serve. Our foundation, the MasterCard Foundation, is motivated by a very, very simple belief. And it's the belief that in each and every one of us is the potential that we can change our own lives, we can change the lives of our families, we can change the lives of people we love, of our communities. It takes an opportunity. And that's why our foundation's focus is really on two critical areas. First, it's around expanding access to financial services for the poor, and it's also about expanding education and learning opportunities for young people around the world. These are two fundamental building blocks in the journey out of poverty. The MasterCard Foundation, for those of you who may not be familiar with us, is a private independent foundation. We were set up back in 2006 when MasterCard became a public company. The company did something which was unprecedented and very generous. It took 10% of the wealth generated from its IPO, and it endowed a foundation. And it endowed a foundation from the beginning with the intent that it would be independent, it would be private, and it would be focused on poverty alleviation. And so our foundation's vision is a world which is not unlike what Opportunity envisions, a world where everyone, every person, all people have opportunities to learn and to prosper. And I can think of no greater moment in time when that opportunity is actually at the doorstep of a continent, the continent of Africa, which is where most of our work is centered and most of our work is focused. And I know that over the course of the next 2 days, you will hear about the needs in Africa, and you heard very eloquently some very, very moving stories already this morning about personal experiences and encounters in Africa. So we know the statistics, but the Africa that we see as a foundation is also an Africa which is on a trajectory. It's on a trajectory of renewal, politically, socially, economically. It's the continent where The Economist is reporting that 7 out of the next 10 fastest growing economies will reside. It's a continent filled with hardworking men and women, especially women, who are going to be writing the renewal, who are going to be writing the story, who are going to be writing the narrative of the continent's renewal. And we would like to be part of that story, just as Opportunity International is part of that story. And in fact, when we think about Africa, I think we would see the continent in the eyes of an Opportunity client, a client by the name of Grace Soboyo, who lives in Blantyre in Malawi. Grace and her business partner, Betty Luhana, used to be among dozens of women who would sell potatoes in a market. And today, because of the work which Opportunity has pioneered in Malawi, Betty and Grace are now distributors. They have used their savings to hire trucks and drivers, and they facilitate the trade between potato farmers and vendors. They have $2,000 in their savings account. They use a biometric-enabled card. They have access to an opportunity kiosk, so they can make deposits and make withdrawals with ease and with peace of mind. Betty and Grace are rewriting their story. They're rewriting the story about their own lives, but certainly that of their children. And you can take that story, that one story, and multiply that by 1.4 million people. That's the number of people we hope to reach through this partnership. It's a partnership between Opportunity International, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and our foundation, the MasterCard Foundation. It's a partnership which is seeking to provide financial services, of a wide range of financial services, to people who are most often excluded. It's women, it's families, and farmers, people who live in rural and very, very poor and marginalized communities who are completely off the financial grid. And our challenge over the next several years, though this partnership began 2 years ago, is to work across 5 countries in Africa, and 5 of the countries you've heard where the agricultural finance program is going to be operating: Ghana, Malawi, Mozambique, Rwanda, and in Uganda. And our challenge is to find ways we can innovate so that we expand access to services, and we do it in a manner that is relevant, that is accessible to people, and to people in terms of what they need to do and how they need to get on with their lives. What is amazing is Opportunity is doing just that. Opportunity International is already delivering access to savings, the absolute number one need, the number one demand, the number one request. It's also delivering services for credit products as well as insurance, and it's doing it in a manner which spans from mobile phones and mobile vans to kiosks and ATMs, right almost at the point of someone's doorstep, which is absolutely exciting. What gets us very, very excited is the innovation around how this program is going to support farmers. And I had an opportunity earlier this year in April to travel in Ghana and to travel with 2 colleagues from Opportunity International, Janalee Anderson from Opportunity Canada and John Magnay, who I think most of the time lives in Uganda. And as an aside, for those of you who are going to take up the offer to travel with Opportunity International, I absolutely encourage you to do that. And especially if you get a chance to travel with John. John is, trying to think of the right term, the living, breathing Wikipedia of agriculture, of what's worked, what hasn't worked, what's gone wrong. And he brings that technical expertise about the world of agriculture, the finances around agriculture, the economics, the politics, but he puts it in a lens which is so human, and he takes us deep into communities and in culture. So we were traveling in a part of Ghana called Bonassa, and we went to visit a farmers group, a group of farmers who grow cocoa. And from John, I got my crash course, everything I wanted to know about cocoa production, which is extremely interesting. And we met a gentleman by the name of Baba Owusu Achampong. This is a gentleman who was easily in his mid-60s, and he was the head of this group of farmers. And what was extraordinary when I asked him, how are you getting on, and how is life changing? We were standing in the middle of this field. It was 100 degrees Fahrenheit, so we were sweltering. Just sweltering heat. And he started to explain what he had received through this program from Opportunity International. It's not just access to finance. It's about access to fertilizer, insecticide, fungicides, if that's the right way to pronounce the word, John. You'll have to correct me later. It's access to gloves, to spraying equipment. And they talk, all of this is the equivalent of a $365 loan. All of this in service of increasing the productivity of the land. Historically, 1 acre would yield about 3 bags of cocoa. And through this program, they have doubled their yields. They're up to 6 bags per acre. And when I asked him, what are you doing with that extra savings? He just smiled and he said, I've bought 750 palm trees. So when the price of cocoa goes down, I'll have palm oil. So he was diversifying. And to me, that is innovation in action. And what Opportunity International is trying to do and to pioneer and create new knowledge about how we do this is to weave together not just a package of services, but an ecosystem around people like Baba and Nana and his colleagues, to actually bring together not only the finance, but the know-how and the access to markets. And it's about a process which is transporting people who live in very humble, very constrained means. It's transporting them across a line. It's a line where subsistence farming will end and where agricultural enterprise can begin. And it's an important line, and it's an amazing line. So when I think about this work, whether we call it microfinance or access to finance, it's not just about, it's a success which isn't going to be measured in the number of ATMs or the number of bank branches. It's success which is going to be measured in terms of the possibilities it creates for people to interpret their lives and to live their lives in a very different way. And to be able to see possibilities for themselves and for their children. So that is extraordinary. That is where the real success of this work comes from. When I reflect about what it takes to innovate, because poverty is complex and is dynamic in nature, I think that part of the story around innovation, around poverty alleviation, has to be a chapter, and maybe several chapters, about partnership. And when I reflect about the relationship we have as a foundation with Opportunity International, the relationship I was able to observe between Opportunity and the farmers that it serves, it's partnership that occurs at multiple levels. And it's much, much more than just aggregating our assets and aggregating the expertise that we have. It's fundamentally about changing how we think. It's about opening up new perspectives, new ideas, and translating that into new capacity to act. Our capacity, and certainly the capacity of the people we serve. I think that as partners with Opportunity, one of the most exciting things I have started to discover on this journey is that we have incredible capacity to listen, and to listen very closely to people who are living in very constrained circumstances, and for them to recount to us their own life experience, how they see their life situation, how they see solutions, and to listen carefully so that we can understand and that we can innovate. I think that's what actually, at the end of the day, makes this work very exciting, and it makes this work incredibly satisfying. So I'm thrilled to be a part of your conversation today, even though it's for a short period of time. And I'm thrilled to see so many people here who have this passion and who have this love for this type of work. We need more people like yourselves. We need in fact, a multitude of people who can see this change, because it's change which isn't just possible, it's change that's happening, and change which will happen through partnerships which will form within this room. So thank you very, very much for including me, and I wish you all the best for your conference.